Okay, so in this tutorial we will go through how to create multiple player or non-player factions in Soul at game start. First of all, we need to start a new game, of course. When you click the new game button, you get this configurable window, and we'll start it with multi-Soul start. Not gonna touch anything else in here, but we are going to change these things. So let's put 3 here and 0 here. And just for fun and giggles, let's add planet X. So this option means the number of player controlled races starting on Earth. And this means the number of non-player races starting outside of Soul. And so if you don't want any computer opponents to start elsewhere at game start, make this 0. If you want to control multiple powers on Earth, or you want to have non-player powers starting on Earth, use this button. Here we go. And we get the first one. So for this race title, we'll put first player race, and short name will be FPR, and we'll have these as a conventional empire. We'll leave all these in place. Actually, we'll change, let's change the flag and change the image. There we go. Create race, and it automatically gives us the second race window. So here we'll have second player race, SPR, and now this is important. If you want this to be the exactly same species, you need to make sure that it's not just the basic human, but you switch down to the other human. And this is why I changed the portrait image. So I know that, oh, it's the same species. If you leave it to be a different species, even though they're both named human and they both start on Earth, they are technically different alien races. And that means that even if you conquest the other race through war, you can never assimilate them. There will always be 2 colonies on Earth. So if you want to be able to merge them completely, you must remember to change to the second human. Not the first, but the second human. This one we will leave as normal. Or actually we can make it a neutral race. And instead here we'll change it to neutral race. And neutral races are not trans-Newtonian capable, and they will never progress it. Neutral race is there to showcase human powers or countries on Earth that are not interested in space and will not take active part in the game. They are only used as a source of population, so that you can send your colony ships there to recruit immigrants to your empire or to your power. And there we go. And now it gives us the third. Remember, we selected 3. So here we have the third. And this we will put non-player Earth race. An important bit here is that we click non-player race. And once you click non-player race, you can't fiddle with the other options. You cannot have a conventional computer-controlled race. The computer in Aurora does not know how to proceed from conventional to trans-Newtonian tech. We'll leave it as it is, except we change the species. So we're going to have 3 human factions that are all the same species starting on Earth. One controlled by the computer, one as a passive neutral race, and one played by the player as a conventional start. Create race. And now this brings us straight to the game itself. once it has finished loading. Here we go. Okay, gonna take that off and that off. Now, good enough. If we look here, we see the neutral rays, because technically they are player controlled. And the first player race that we can play normally. Now that the neutral race has, you can see here, it has no industry, but it has shipyards. So this is actually a bug. The neutral race should not have shipyards at all. But that's okay. We can delete them, because the neutral race has to be passive. There's no point for them to have shipyards or anything. So there are, you see, production 0, industry 0, and in the summary view there is nothing. Let's update it. See, now the shipyards are away as well. We cannot see the non-player race, which is as it should be. Okay, so now let's say you want to create another race on Mars, which is a fairly common start in Aurora, to have multiple races on different bodies. So first of all, make sure that you have the first player race selected, and we need to terraform Mars. So we're gonna create a colony on Mars, which allows us now to use the economy window to go to Mars, click on environment, and now we can fix up the atmosphere on Mars. We're gonna add, let's say 0.5, and it immediately updates the combination. Okay, it's getting pretty hot in there, so let's take the carbon dioxide away. And so when you put it on 0, you can see that it was completely removed here. So it doesn't show, if a gas is 0, it gets completely taken away from the list. You don't have to worry about that. Now we can see that we need to put in some oxygen, so that we can have oxygen breathers. Let's put it on 2. And finally, we have to put in some nitrogen. Let's put it on 2 as well. Okay, surface temperature is 66 degrees. So we can say that that's way too hot. So let's go back to astucium. So astucium is a safe greenhouse gas, and frigiusium is a safe non-greenhouse gas. So you use frigiusium to cool down your planet and astucium to heat it up. So these are made up gases. Everything else is real, but these two are made up transnewtonian gases. So instead, let's change it to 0.1 atmospheres. So this is percentage, and this is the actual atmospheric composition. So we saw that that took us a bit too low, and oxygen is also now a bit too much, too high of a percentage of the atmosphere. But that's okay, meaning that it's not breathable atmosphere on Mars. So let's instead put it to 1.5. Okay, it's still a bit too cold. Let's try. Okay. Alright, why did it go so hot earlier? I don't know. Okay, you can see here how you can fine tune it. Okay, let's put it to 25 so it's not quite so frigid. There we go. But again, the problem is that oxygen is over 30%, which means that the atmosphere is not breathable for humans. So we're gonna increase the amount of nitrogen slightly. We don't need to increase it much, but let's put it to 30. There we go. Now oxygen is safely under 30%, and on the right hand side we can see everything looks good except water. So let's put some seas. Let's put some proper oceans on Mars. There we go. 50%, water availability is 0. So now Mars is an ideal planet. It's a bit cooler than Earth, but that's alright. Why are we doing this? We are doing all this so that first we have to remember to delete population. Yep. We are doing all this so that now when we create a race, when you select Mars and you press the create race button, the race that is created gets its environmental tolerances from their home world. So now the game gives us landfall commune, species landfall, and if you look at their ideal gravity, ideal temperature, oxygen pressure, and so on and so forth, they are based on Mars. But we don't want it to be an alien race. We want it to be human, the same human. And so the race title is Mars Humanity. Martians, and homeworld name is Mars. And here we can also again select whether we want it to be a non-player race, conventional empire, neutral race, or whatever. So we're gonna roleplay that this is a human faction that terraformed Mars and moved to live there. So they are gonna be trans-Newtonian from the start, and we'll give them a flag of. There we go, very fancy looking flag. Create race. No. What if we want to do something else? What if we want to put aliens living on planet X? So what is planet X? So planet X is a fantasy element. Well, technically it could be a real thing. So we have Minerva up here. And if you look, let's look on body info. Minerva is a gas giant. It could be a terrestrial planet, but usually it's a gas giant that is really far out in the system. And you can look at orbital distance. So on average it's 26.5 billion kilometers away from from the sun. So it's very, very far. And on display, let's put dwarf planet orbital. So here we can see it has many, many moons. Loads of moons. And when we click here, hide moons, we have Minerva. Let's see if there are any good candidates here. Small terrestrial, good idea. Okay, so we don't have large terrestrial moons, so we'll go with this one. Also because it has good gravity. You can see that all the other planets need low gravity infrastructure. You can see the gravity here. So this moon number 16 and here moon number 33 have decent gravities. Let's go with the moon number 16. And now we will create an alien race. So we won't terraform it. We will have it as it is, and we'll show you what happens. So what happens is that the gravity is very low, ideal temperature is freezing, and all of these are really weird. But that's okay. We'll leave this at precursor. Pre-robes. We'll use the Minerva name so that it's easier to remember them. We'll put them as non-player race as well. And so we can roleplay them as a small power, small robotic power left behind by the precursors at the very edge of the solar system, and create race. And that's it. That is how you create multiple races, both player controlled and computer controlled, in the Sol system at game start, whether on Earth or on other planets. Happy hunting and good luck.